Okay, so this is After Effects Apprentice, Lesson 4, Comp01. And this is what's on it. We've got basically our cityscape, and we've got this animated background there. And I'm going to lock that background so it doesn't mess with me as we play with these mask shapes. So let's blink on our foreground layer, our top layer. And so we're going to play with the masking tool. I'm going to click and hold down on that, and we've got different shapes that we can pick from. We're going to pick rounded rectangle, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to click and hold the button, and I'm going to drag to kind of pick out a section of the city that I like. And with the mouse still being held down, I'm going to hit the up arrow, and you'll see how I can adjust those edges to something that I like. And then when I release click, we are in that, that's what we have. And what we will, if you want to move that mask around later, just make sure that's selected. Hit the selection tool, and we can drag it around to any place we like. Now, we can also adjust the size of it by hitting, so I'm going to select the mask again. I'm going to hit Command T for transform, and we can change the shape of it. Okay, so I'm going to hit return, and we'll say that looks pretty good. Now let's make another mask. This time we are going to pick an ellipse. We're going to put a circle here, and to make it a true circle, we're going to hold the shift button down while I drag to get a true circle. And that's approximately the right size. I just want to wiggle it around. So we'll say something like that. Now I'm going to twirl down that mask, and I'm going to feather it, make it nice and soft. And if this is bothering you, these path lines, all you need to do is click that off, and then you can adjust the feather without that being in your way. You can name these masks if you want. I'm going to click, I'm going to hit return, and I'm going to call this rectangle. Hit return, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to return that. I'm going to call that one circle. Hit return. And now they want us to add a drop shadow to these masks, so we'll just go layer. We could do layer styles and add a drop shadow. There's another way to add a drop shadow over here in perspective. They've got another drop shadow option, so I'm just going to grab that one, drop it on, and with this drop shadow you can adjust the distance, you can adjust the softness this way, as well as the opacity and the direction. Okay. And so the next thing that they want us to do is to go into the sources and grab this Illustrator file, Bring on the Night, and bring it up on top. And you will see that it's black and doesn't read very well in this world. And so what we were going to do is we are going to go to Generate, and we are going to pick the Fill effect, and we're going to drop it on there, and we are going to make this white. Okay. And so that's the name of the show. And now we're going to reveal that using a mask. And so the first thing that we will do, so I'm going to select the layer. I'm going to pick a rectangle mask, and I'm going to set the shape around the mask like that. Let's say we want to take a second 15 for this to wipe on. So in this mask, what we're going to do is we're going to keyframe mask path, because that keyframes the shape. Then we will go back to the beginning, and I am click the selection tool, and you see the little rectangle. I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to pick these two bad boys. And I'm going to drag them to the left. And then that sets that keyframe there. And then you'll see, as we move along, that it creates that wipe. And let's just take a look at that. Alright. 3 seconds is enough of that. So now if you don't like how sharp the mask is, this is where we can feather it. And it's much more of a softer wipe on. Alright. Last thing they want us to do is to put a dark vignette around the edges. So what we will do is we will pick layer, new, solid. Make sure it's black. And then call this vignette. And then we will pick the ellipse tool. And now I'm just going to double click it. And what it will do is it will fill the comp just like that. And here the mask is set to add. We want to set it to subtract so that there's a hole in the center. And then we want to feather this mask. And then let's shrink it a little bit. Shrink it. Feather it some more. Alright. And then let's give this a blend mode. My blend modes aren't open, so I'm going to hit columns. Turn that on. And let's see what the screen looks like. No good. Overlay does not look good. And then let's play with the opacity of the entire layer. Alright, and then we'll render that. And that's essentially what you will render. A project from a design point of view that would be appropriate for any public access show on your local cable network. If only we had a diamond wipe.